why great managers can transform conversations into impact. And so, most of the time, when you're a newer or new to a team manager, your one on ones can just be meetings with people, but no real agenda. A lot of times you think that you have to have a one on one because it's, says in an employee handbook, you got to get it on the calendar. You got to meet with your team, got to develop your team, got to coach your team, you got to know what's going on personally and professionally and all in their life. But most get one-on-one meetings wrong, and ultimately it's costing trust, it's costing performance, it's really costing influence. And so as we start to give out more and more content around the cheat codes of leadership, we're going to talk through how to turn boring, mundane check ins into powerful coaching conversations within your team that ultimately unlocks their potential. And so, we're going to talk through some tips, questions, strategies that you can do to level up as a manager. Don't forget to subscribe. We're going to be putting out more and more leadership content like this, and I'm excited for what this is going to turn into because my heart is for you, leader, to be better than you are right now. My belief is that you don't have to be sick to get better, and so we are going to help you do just that. Get better. We're going to have conversations with others. You're going to have individual teaching like this. And if you resonate with it, drop a comment. Let me know what the biggest takeaway is. Like and subscribe. Share with somebody that you think this would be helpful, and be super grateful to do that as we start this YouTube journey. Now, one of the things that I talk to a lot with managers is that they're just blowing it in their one-on-ones. What should be the most valuable time of connection, collaboration, celebration, really just becomes a glorified updates of, hey, this is going well, this is going wrong. But even worse, it just is a meeting on the calendar that could be an email. And if your team walks out of your one on ones like it was a waste of time, you're not leading, you're at best babysitting. But the good news is that with a few tweaks and a few focuses on certain cheat codes, you can transform any one to one that you have into a powerful conversation. It doesn't have to take a long time, 15, 20, 30 minutes. And in this video, my hope is that I share with you a tip or two that you can implement today and get better in your one on ones. Because at the end, we're going to give probably my favorite question to turn every one on one into a trust building, performance enhancing conversation. And so, if you're ready, hope you are, get some notes, and yeah, let's jump into this. So, one, the problem with one on ones is sometimes we use it as a checklist. What's on your plate? What projects going on? Anything you need from me? And then we just kind of sit back and wait. It's very passive. And that's not leadership. That's small talk with a notepad. That's stuff that could be given to you in an email. The tension is that you want growth, clarity, and connection. And if you're not getting that, if your team's not getting that, then they'll check out, or worse, they'll look for somebody that does give that to them. And so I used to have such terrible one on ones. They were surface level, they were transactional, and they had little to no impact. And then I really started wondering, how could I do this even better? How could I make these conversations with teammates actually drive the ball down the field, actually move the needle towards what we're trying to accomplish? And so one of the shifts that I had to make is I wasn't just managing, I was coaching. Because great one on ones are not about task, they're about the people. Your role is not just to manage output, it's to coach and guide development in your team through what they're doing. So, what does that mean? You're to draw out questions that get them thinking, not just tracking their to-dos. And so start with them, not just the work. How are you doing outside of task? You need to create harmony between the personal and the professional. Your team is not just a spreadsheet. They're souls, they're people that have said yes to you, and you've been placed in a role of stewardship over them. And so if you can start relationally, you're building equity, because there's going to come a time where you're going to have to go into a one-on-one and critique, reprimand, correct. And you want to be able to have the equity to be able to do so. Another thing that is really important is creating structure, not just scripts, not just we go through the same things, we ask the same questions. Yes, I'm about being prepared, but if you don't prepare and you don't get some type of information ahead of time, you're not going to be as best as you can leading through a one-to-one conversation. You want to create structure of, here's what you're going to give me ahead of time, here's the questions I'm going to ask, here's how we're going to have this flow, because it makes it predictable. Unpredictable moments create hesitant followers. They don't know what to share, when to share, how to share. And so a simple agenda is you go through wins, losses, challenges, support, and have a development piece. You go through wins, losses, challenges, where they need your support, and then you end with a development piece. Asking questions, what's your biggest win this week? What roadblocks are slowing you down? End with clear next steps. Get agreement on what you plan on doing. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's what you're going to do. Here's what we're going to do. So no one is left guessing at the end of the day. You leave a one-on-one and you're like, do I have anything to do because of this? Do I have anything that I am responsible for? You don't want your team walking out like that. Even in the comments, do you feel that the one-on-ones that you have, are they structured or are they random? Is it just a placeholder on a calendar, or is it something you look forward to because you get to spend time with your leader and give feedback, gain experience and insight? Is it that it's just a free-for-all? What is it? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear how yours is. Another thing is you want to be able to dig for development pieces. You need to know how they're thinking. You need to know how they like to be led. You need to know where they're struggling. That's the relational piece on the front end. And so no one really truly wants to be managed. They want to be developed. Your one-on-ones are not about deadlines and tasks. You're missing the chance to build loyalty, to build retention, to build credibility. Because I know in the times that I had one-on-ones with teams, they just wanted to know how I thought. When I had one-on-ones with my leaders, I just wanted to know how they thought. So I came with questions. I wanted to ask them what they thought about a certain scenario so I'd know if I was on the right track. Your team is the same way. Because people don't quit jobs. They quit leaders. They quit managers who don't invest and who don't ask their perspective and opinion and or give their perspective and opinion. All too often I have spent time where, in the sake of development or empowerment, I just let it go. And so I didn't ask the right questions. I didn't ask where they want to grow in, what strengths do they want to see developed, what are they hoping to get out of the next 3, 6, 9, 12 months? Because what you'll see is you may find that there's a hidden gem that they want to be developed in, you have a need for, and you could start to give development to that place. If they share a goal that they want to shoot for, okay, how are you revisiting that? How are you making it a priority for them to have that be what they're striving for, what they're going towards, what they are shooting for, and can you build goals, metrics, KPIs around that thing? Another cheat code for 101s is you want to build trust through the honesty. The fastest way to kill credibility and kill a 101 is to pretend. Sugarcoat feedback, dodge conflict. If you just find yourself nodding your head, yeah, okay, that's good. Okay, yeah, I'll check on that. Your people are going to know. They're going to know that you're not in it. And once you lose trust, it's really hard to rebuild it. Not impossible, but you want to build relational equity. You want to build credibility in 101s. And so you care so that you can critique, that you can celebrate, you can go through what is a code of communication. And one of the things that is maybe one of the most comfortable for them to share, if you've done it right, and maybe even uncomfortable for us to hear, though, is what feedback do you have for me? Where could I be better as a leader? Here's a question I love. If you were me, what would you do leading our team? You want to ask these prompting questions that get people going. Well, I don't know what I would do. Let me think about that. You're making it a two-way street because they're praising publicly. They are pushing forward publicly. You want to give them an avenue to critique you as the leader. And so here's one thing you could do. Have them bring topics they want to talk about. Ask them what they want to get out of it for the day. Create space for silence and don't just rush to fill the gap. Ask a question. Let it sit. Ask a question. Let it sit. Ask a question. Let it sit. And one of the things that I always went to is, what one thing can I do to help you succeed? What one thing can I do to help you succeed in blank, in this project, in this teammate, in this department? Because a lot of times we are constantly just giving direction, order, guidance. We may be asking for feedback that we may or may not do something with. But when we say, hey, what are you working on? How can I help you succeed? It's a simple question. It requires humility for us. It requires us to have courage to listen. But when we can do this consistently, we start to flip the dynamic of one-on-ones. You stop being the boss and you start being the leader that people are thrilled to follow. When you are in a place where people will run through a wall for you, that's a fun place to be in leadership. So make sure that you're shifting from being a manager to a coach. You want to create structure, not just have the predetermined script of what you're going to say. You want to dig for development opportunities within your team. You want to build trust through honesty. You want to build trust through clear and direct direction and feedback. You want to make it a two-way street where it is give and take. You're giving insight and guidance. They're giving insight and guidance. And ask that question. What can I do to help you succeed? Because again, the truth that we started off with is most managers will say, oh yeah, my one-on-ones are great. You may be seeing that. And hopefully this has prompted something in you that makes you think differently. Again, you don't have to be sick to get better, but I believe if you implement 1, 2, or all of these, your one-on-ones with your team, your one-on-ones in networking opportunities, your one-on-ones with mentors, mentees will go through the roof of effectiveness because they won't be boring. They won't be transactional, and they won't be forgettable. But you will unlock potential in these meetings. So If this gave you something to think about, I'd be honored that you hit the subscribe button, share it with somebody, drop a nugget, an insight that you got, and even the biggest and best questions for one-on-ones that you have. I'd love to hear them. I always love to add to my arsenal because I want to be better myself as we push more content into this leadership lane and vein. And I may hear a question, hear a prompt, and be able to respond in a video in that way, because this is going to be a purpose and a place where all leaders can thrive, all leaders can rise, and we are going to do this together. Remember, great leadership isn't about knowing it all. It's about creating ways for others to rise. So go run better one-on-ones this week. Your team is waiting, your leadership is waiting, and you are the cheat code. Don't ever forget that. Peace.